Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the daily roundup. Oh no, yeah. Hold on, really quick. Let me just let everybody know that in the chat room I'm starting. If you guys don't know how to get to the chat room, here, this is it right here. Going live on the daily roundup. Yeah. Okay, so just you can see there's what 107 of us here right now. It's been a pretty busy morning, but I just want to let everybody know that I'm on the roundup right now. I think some of you already know that. I think some of you already logged in and listening, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew because I meant to give you a heads up. Anyway, okay, so let's start. Let me talk a little bit about what happened to me last night. So last night I went long. I was long. Let me just take a step back. I was long some dollar Canadian over the weekend, and I was long, and I put my stops right. It was. Here, let me pull up the chart, or let me pull up the fib. I know we stalled at the 618, but I had my stops like right below 139.50, and I put my stops there. And I, woke up and been stopped out. Also, I had a long Euro Aussie, excuse me, and I had a long Euro Aussie with stops like right over here, like right there, and both were kind of dropping. As I was before I went to bed, and and I was just like, I'll just keep my stops in place, and if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I got to be involved just in case that Asia moves get reversed in Europe. Well, they didn't. So I woke up this morning and I got stopped out of those positions. I was a little irritated, and so what I did is I went back and I'm like, okay, where do I want to be in the market? And one of them was, if you guys saw the tweet, I got long the US dollar Mexican peso. Now, everybody in the chat room knew I got long at 22.14. Obviously, I tweeted that chart. I tweeted that chart when we were already trading at 22.23 or something like that. So I bought it down here at 22.14, and then it was up here by the time I tweeted that out. But I think this is a pretty strategic place to be long the US dollar Mexican peso. Why? It's a place I've been wanting to be long for a long time, but it is the breakout point, and it's the highs from 2017. It's a 50% retracement. Actually, what we should do really fast, let's just make sure that might actually be 127% extension. It is, of the triangle at its widest point. 127% extension. So there's a triple confluence of levels there. So, was it and is it a low risk, high return counter trend trade? It is, and actually, believe it or not, my day is almost back to flat now because of that position, and it's not even a big position either. It was a relatively light size position, but it's really reversed course pretty nicely. But anyway, that's the dollar max, and I think that's a pretty important, because if the S&P, which as you guys know is at the 200-day moving average, if we close back below the 200-day moving average, that might be basis for a little bit of a reversal. And if that's the case, the dollar Mexican peso probably is going to be bouncing back to 22. I would think 22.60, 22.80, maybe even a 23 right here over the course of the next day or two. So if the S&P pulls back from current levels. So that's something to think about. Now, one of the pairs that, I got demolished in was the dollar Canadian. I say demolished. I mean, I got stopped out. I was more irritated. Demolished mentally, maybe is the way I should put it. Anyway, the dollar Canadian is at the 50% long-term retracement of the false breakdown to the big move higher. 50% retracement. I've thought about getting long again down here, but let's also understand that we are in breakdown territory currently, right? We're at 127% extension and 50% retracement of the, 50% retracement of this whole move, 127% extension of this last move higher. I think if we end up doing a false breakdown and we get back above 138.60, which is not very far away, thinking about, you know, how far we've moved, if we move up another 40 or 50 pips, and that gives us a false breakdown of this wedge, then I'd be considered of being long. I would consider being long again. False breakdown, get long. You know, as long as the dollar Mexican peso is going higher, as long as, you know, stocks are drifting lower, then I would take that position. But that's something that I'm thinking about. You know, thinking about like nowish. Okay. Oh, let's talk about the euro. Okay, so, you know, there is a lot of optimism surrounding Wednesday about this the euro meeting. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this up here. Not there. This is from European Parliament, right? And you can see the schedule for Wednesday. This is going to be pretty important, all the debate right here for the EU recovery package, and all these press conferences a little bit later on during the day. And, you know, what comes out of the debate tomorrow is to be seen, but this is going to be really important going into tomorrow. So I'm going to, Steve said it probably best today. You know, we break above 110 in a meaningful way. If we break above 110 in a meaningful way, it's a breakout, any which way you slice it. So for me, I'm thinking about getting long some euro overnight if I can, but I don't want to buy it here necessarily. I'd like to actually be long the euro dollar somewhere down here, like at 109.40, but we'll see. I might actually just choose to play the euro long against other currencies. Personally, that might be the better trade for me to do. Oh, one last thing I want to talk about, and then I'm going to let you guys go, is the New Zealand yen. If you guys are, oh, hold on, there's a Q&A. Wait, hold. Tiana said, Blake, this thing, US dollar Canadian, could eventually see 136 around the 618. Your thoughts? Yeah, I you know, as long as stocks continue higher, I don't think that I think that is the risk, right? With the US dollar Canadian. I think that is the risk, that it continues to break down out of this wedge, and, you know, we continue to push lower towards 136. Again, the only way for me to get long right now is we have to get back above 138.70, and then I might consider it. Hold on really quick. So one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is the New Zealand yen. Traded this on the short side, because I've been waiting for this for weeks, and it's like it never would come. It felt like it would never come, and it finally did come. We actually filled this gap. On the day that we filled it, you know, we rallied to the 200-day moving average. It was finally enough to break the New Zealand yen out and push it to fill the gap. Now, the question is, you know, does it fail here? I'm assuming it does, because I got short a little bit at 66.77, which is basically where we're at. I mean, it's right where we're currently trading right now. I got short a little early. I got short like right here as we were rallying into this resistance, and we overshot, and now here we are. I think this is one that you keep your eye on. If you're not short, I mean, if you really want to take a, you know, manageable risk reward trade, you just, you know, if we get a pop back to 66.80, you short it here and put your stops above the highs, or above 67 cents, 67 yen. I'm sorry, I keep saying cents. 67 yen. You could do that. That's, you know, my trade is not much different than that. But I mean, because the risk reward's there. I mean, if let's say you're risking, let's just say 25 pips to make what? You know, if you get short at 66.80, to get short at oops, sorry, hold on. It's just German. Hold on. I just need to turn down the volume of that. Hold on. Okay, so you know, you're risking 25 pips to make what? You know, a move back down here to make 50. I mean, it's a good risk reward, right? in anybody's book. So I don't think that that's a bad trade, especially if you think that we are going to fail up here at the 200-day moving average for the S&P. If that's the case and you think that that's going to happen, then being short the New Zealand yen is probably the right trade at this point. Okay. All right, guys. But with that being said, if you're watching this after the fact and you're not in the chat rooms with us and you're not listening to this live, then that means you're probably not a Forex Analytics subscriber. So make sure you try us out. It's only $1 for 10 days. For those of you that are listening in live, I want to say thanks for being here. I hope you had a good 3-day weekend. I look forward to seeing you guys, for the remainder of the week. And Brock, you're welcome. And Brock, glad to have you here. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the Face webinar, or I'll see you guys in the chat room. All right.